Hello again everybody, and a very warm welcome to a very cold Syracuse Airport in the north of America. And today we're going to be flying the iniBuilds A310 once more. A flight across the north over to Detroit Metro Wayne. There's a lot of hype at the moment building up across a couple of different developers. They are offering over a few different options for Detroit, all coming soon. I think Orbex and iniBuilds are both competing to create something, but we've actually got quite a nice freeware scenery available for Detroit Metro Wayne, which is linked in the description for you guys to check out. This is, for our departure today, the new VerticalSim Syracuse, and it's available on Contrail, again linked in the description down below. It's out now for Microsoft Flight Simulator, and they've said it's their best scenery that they've been able to create thus far to date. So we're going to have a little explore around briefly. We've got most of the aircraft all set up, ready to go for our flight, because I want to squeeze in 2 sectors today and get back to Syracuse. What I can gather so far, VerticalSim have actually done a really nice bit of work on the snow here, which is quite rare, probably the best way to say it. Quite rare for Microsoft Flight Simulator sceneries where snow really does ruin the immersion on the airfield, but this looks pretty good actually. I'm sure you guys probably agree. It's just the right level of snow cover, slight icy style conditions. Badger, Joey Goofy, David Barley, the commentator, Reese, hello folks, welcome to our channel members, and all of you guys wherever you are in the world tuning in and boarding for today's flights. So VerticalSim, they offer some fairly cost-effective, fairly reasonable value for money sceneries. This is their latest iteration for what we can see. Am I using the beta release, David asks? Sadly no, I'm not in their beta. I did check today to see if I could try and somehow obtain it, but it hasn't quite worked out. Aviation Alfie, hello. Head to britishAvGeek.com/VATSIM and you'll find all the PDFs there, Alfie. Hopefully that helps. It's early progress, but at the moment as well I'm in talks with VATSIM to produce some official training videos for people to start with all the basics, basically similar to that of the videos I've already done, but this will be official on the VATSIM website, which will be quite exciting. No doubt will take quite a bit of work though. We're going to be flying live weather today. We're going to be testing out the weather radar because on our last flight I couldn't get it to work. That's because I had terrain map on. So thanks to Ashley for pointing that out. Juliet, Charlie, Mike, David A, good morning folks. What do you guys think, those of you who might live around Syracuse? You will know the airport a lot better than me, perhaps other people watching. Do you think it looks pretty good? I mean, for me the standout is the snow texturing. That is quite nice. Reese says the only thing missing is Rex Acusism, because in reality the leaves are all gone in Syracuse right now. Yeah, I try not to end up with loads of that sort of thing. I do like Rex live weather, but only as a backup to a backup should live weather break. Internally, it's pretty basic. There are some very blurry textures, repeated texture work throughout this very basic terminal scenery, which it's not that fantastic inside, to be honest, from what we can gather. The cargo apron is complete. And then over there, we've got the National Guard. ODG, hello. It is pretty much useless, but it does give you some sort of idea, doesn't it? It gives you a slight indication of stuff. It helps with some form of decision making. Something is better than nothing. We've had nothing for most of the time, haven't we? Let's face it. is a bit more of an interior here with animated people. Well, that looks a little bit better. AR Simulations, hello. Hope you're okay. Mark, hello. Interesting. You know what? I'm not actually sure, but I did only schedule this stream about 20, well, maybe 30, 40 minutes ago, to be honest. So sometimes YouTube requires 24 hours notice to be able to ping it to people's phones and things like that if you've got notifications selected. From what I've gathered, it doesn't always work that well, sadly. There's that neon sign, which at night time lights up wonderfully. ODG saying I should have flown the sector as northwest. Didn't think of that, to be honest, if I'm honest with you guys. Didn't think of that at all. In deciding today's route, we sort of discussed it in the members lounge, and Delta popped up, and of course this Delta livery here is included in the A310 via the iniBuilds manager. Although I've just noticed something really odd as a bit of an omission. Look at the 2 registrations on the back. They didn't spot that, did they? In beta testing. I mean, that's quite obvious now. I've seen it. And now I'm not going to be able to unsee it. Madness. So yeah, we're going to have 2 sectors in the A310. Let me just put AP bleed on. Standby compass. That is on. Yeah, that is on arm. Jolly good. System 1. Trying to remember things here. That's available with AP bleed switched on. Green light goes up to show bleeds. So we should, in theory, be able to come off external power. We can. Seatbelt signs are now on, and we've got the Luke Air tool powering today's flight.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Delta Sky Team and our global partners, welcome on board your Delta flight. As you're making your way to your seat,
it's quite an obvious bug, isn't it?
Step into your row and out of the aisle as quickly as possible.
Once you realise the X in FedEx has an arrow in it, good luck trying to unsee that. Oh no, that doesn't sound fun. There's our departure stuff for today. It reckons we're going to use most of the runway. Flex to 59. And there's our surface stuff. I've gone for wet because the runway is contaminated. Bacon, I am using my Toby. Not yet though, once we taxi. Anti-ice is off for the time being. One thing I want to test out today, we'll do it for today. We will try out the new GSX anti-ice function. There's a de-icer thing on GSX, which is quite cool. We're going to check that out today.
However, once we close our boarding door, you must please place these items into airplane mode or turn off your cellular service.
Okay, so we got 3031, 3031, which is QNH 1026 when converted. We're going for 1515 on the flaps. Brakes anti-skid on norm, and there's all of our departure stuff preset and ready to go. We've set decision height to -5. And we got ECAM for left cabin door not closed yet. Here's our departure. Syracuse, runway 28. Let's bring up Navigraph for the first time today. We're parked here. Stand number 25. We're going to push start in the cul-de-sac to face east. And then we're going to taxi Sierra Mike, cross runway 33 onto Alpha. And then we're going to line up at the very bottom here, runway 28, for a departure on runway 28, initially flying 280 degrees on the Syracuse 2 departure, like so, following that line out 280 degrees heading, and then we're going to vector ourselves towards the Syracuse VOR 117.0, which is what you can see on the flight plan page, direct to SYR, and that's there on the nav display. It's a little discontinuity for us. In all likelihood though, we're going to go direct Wackor. Alberta, good morning. And then we're going to be on our way Let's see. When we get towards Detroit, by the way, we've got a really cool star for our arrival. We're flying the Top Gun 2 on our arrival for the ILS runway 21. And that's our route for today. Using the latest Navigraph stuff, really looking forward to all their other future updates. This one's a whopper, isn't it? It's really good. So we've got LRM fired up, ready. Navigraph's ready. Balanta is ready. Bacon Sani, I hope you're well. Joey Goofy, hello. LN is Denmark. I think it's Chile, isn't it? It's like Latam. I'm not sure. It's about an hour and a half-ish each way. So we're going to try and do a rush or a hurry turnaround on the other sides. Cost index of 80, that should give us Mach decimal 80 for cruise. And our call sign Delta 5437. One to 28 is active. We don't need those. Rudder trim is set to 0. We've got lights and signs as required. Weather system 1 is active. And there's our flex set on that little thrust modulation system panel here. Flex 2, 59. That's going to give us a target N1 of 94.4, I think. Yep, good. That is active. Didn't mean to click the brake fan. Let's clear some of these. That's all looking pretty good. Left forward cabin is not closed. Boarding is complete though. Additional services is what I want. So let's see. Additional services. Nope. I thought they had a de-icing function. Perhaps not. Sure, that was an option somewhere. Additional services, lavatory water, request GPU. We don't want any of those. Doc, hello, welcome. Ah, well. No de-icer for us today. Tatton icing range though. I know what this sim is like, so I'm going to put wing supply on for now. Just for a little bit of anti-ice. Let's get the beacon lights switched on. Seatbelt signs are all set as required. Happy with that. Happy with that. And all the rest of it is looking prepped too. Yeah, I think maybe it's dependent on an aircraft type, because I'm sure I've seen it before, like Mark said there. AR simulation saying it will be available upon pushback. Thank you, buddy. That answers that question really nicely. On that note, let's prep for pushback. There goes the jetty. Beacon's on. Not sure what pushback's going to be like here. It's a very tight cul-de-sac. Syracuse traffic, Delta 5437, A310 on gate 25, push start to face east in the cul-de-sac. Syracuse traffic. We've got our custom views ready to go.
Departure check completed. Bypass pin inserted.
I do like GSX. There is an update coming soon to the A310 by the sounds of it. It's in testing at the moment, and I'm hoping one of the things is that they fix that TT aircraft UI thing that they've obviously not got quite correct on the aircraft config code. Seems like they've omitted it or something. So, right, we want the nose right.
Unlocking gear.
Back in the flight deck. Flight brakes on, seatbelt signs on, smoke sign, wing anti-ice, tack ice and rain. As a warning, APU is running. That's all good. Let's go to here. Beacon up our brake. And then it's after start checks. So, galley's on shed, APU bleed is on. That's cool.
Release parking brakes. Commencing push.
Right,
All engines
so
clear. Start at will.
ignition A for now. We're going to go start. You know what? I can't remember if it's start 1 or 2 first, but we'll go with 1 today. Why not? We're going to monitor that N2. Skyworker says, love GSX, but I have to constantly reset QATL upon arrival at destination. Hey, that sounds like it's a bit of a pain in the backside. For you. We'll listen to these sounds. We've got the Luke Air Tool safety demo for Delta as well, ready to go for today. How epic. Love the roar. Shaquille, good morning. Fritz, good morning as well.
Set parking brakes.
Waiting your confirmation for good engine start. Cockpit to ground.
I'll do this.
Good engine start.
Oh, Fritz, it's fantastic.
Unlocking gear.
Okay, we're going to go for start 2. Jesus, that's violent. Did I not do my weights? Thought I did. Anyway, run that one.
Tow truck disconnected. Bypass pin removed. Left is clear. Right is clear.
And once he puts the flag up, we'll get our first screenshot of the day. There he is. Engines 1 and 2 both look good. Let's get... We'll put it onto continuous reline now because I'll forget. Bring galley power back on. Batteries are good. Look at fuel, that's all good. We've turned the bleed off. Now we can turn the APU off. Right, let's see if we got the de-icer. No. Not available. We'll basically check it on taxi as well, just to have a little look. Right, we want flaps and slats set 15. (15.0), 15.15. Arm spoilers, spectacular flying. Hello, Fritz loving the Retrojet livery. It's pretty cool, isn't it? We want nav mode, profile mode armed. Pitch trim is already set. Rudder trim, we need to make sure it's set to 0. It is. And we've already armed the spoilers, slats, flap set, ECAM status checked, anti-ice as required, hand signal received. Jolly good. We want to go all the way right, back to neutral, all the way left, back to neutral, all the way back to neutral, all the way forwards, back to neutral, And that big jump there in the rudder pedals, we want to make sure that we configure it a couple of times just to make the sim remember our configuration, basically. And I think we're ready. So, Syracuse traffic, Delta 5437 taxi to hold point Alpha runway 28 via Sierra, Mike Alpha cross runway 33 and Alpha Syracuse traffic. Possibly AR simulations, that's a good shout. Flight brakes off. I'll put engine anti-ice on for now. And we'll get that Delta safety demonstration started as well.
At this time, in just a few moments, we'll be showing you the safety video. Once the video has concluded, we'll be in the aisle to answer any questions you have before we're seated for taxi out. Again, thank you for choosing Delta today. My name is Susan. I'm your purser for today's flight, along with Charles in the economy cabin. We do welcome you aboard.
At Delta, we think our world feels smaller when you get out in it. That's why the best men and women in the business work each day to take you to the people, places, and cultures that make this world such an amazing place. Bringing the world closer together, one flight at a time.
Yeah, old Toby Air Chak. You know what, Fake Sonny, I thought the exact same thing. Poor Charles.
One of cultures
Stuck in economy.
and ideas that span our world and link us each to another.
Look at that, I mean, the ground textures are fantastic. Look at that, that slight little bit of snow on the ground, a bit icy. That's really nice with the scenery.
Welcome aboard, and thanks for flying with Delta.
Our first priority on every flight is the safety of our customers and crew. So, before we depart,
please pay attention to this important safety message.
Be sure that all carry-on items are securely stowed in an overhead bin, and place smaller items, including handbags, under the seat in front of you. If you lose your electronic device in your seat, please do not adjust your seat, and ask a crew member for assistance. Please ensure all aisles, exits, and bulkhead areas are clear.
as we leave the gate, make sure your seatbelt is fastened. To fasten, insert the metal.
Those of you who might have missed it as well over the last few days, PMDG have just the other day updated their 737 once more. Auto brake max.
Secure your shoulder harness by attaching the metal tip to the fitting on the belt.
Reese is loving the scenery.
Remove the metal tip and allow the
It's
shoulder
nice, isn't it?
harness to retract. Please remain seated with your seatbelt securely fastened anytime the seatbelt sign is on. And even if the sign is off, please keep your seatbelt fastened in case we experience unexpected rough air.
For everyone's safety, federal regulations require all passengers to comply with the posted placards and lighted information signs located.
Ah, Zato, awesome.
In addition
Oops.
to any crew member's instructions.
Smoking, including the use of e-cigarettes, is not allowed on any Delta flight, and federal law prohibits tampering with, disabling, or destroying a restroom smoke detector.
There are 8 exits
There we go.
on this plane, 8 doors, 4 on each side. Each door has a raft. All exits are clearly marked with an exit sign. However,
we'll cross
if there's loss of
33.
power and cabin visibility is reduced, lights
Syracuse
will
traffic data
illuminate the aisles
5437
and
crossing
Please note that
runway
exit
33.
signs on this airplane identify each exit with a green symbol. Arrows indicate the direction to the exit. Locate the exit nearest you using these green symbols. Keeping in mind the nearest exit might be behind you.
So we've got that warning, Tatin ice in range. That's what we're worried about here.
Items behind. It's unlikely, but if cabin pressure changes, the panels above your seat will open, revealing oxygen masks. If this happens, reach up and pull the mask or red streamer towards you until the tube is fully extended. Place the mask over your nose and mouth. Slip the elastic strap
Right, slip
over your head
beacons.
and adjust the mask if necessary. Breathe normally and note that oxygen
And there's
is
the
flowing,
windsock.
so don't worry if
There's a
the
lot of
line is
windsocks here though,
Be sure
that's the
to
only thing. I
adjust
think
your
maybe they
mask
might have omitted a couple by accident, put too many in.
Is also unlikely. But just in case, life vests are located under your seats in the main cabin. If you're seated in the business class or Delta Premium Select cabin, life vests are located
Syracuse
either
Delta
in the compartment
5437 has
adjacent to your
vacated
seat or under
33,
your
holding
arm.
position at Alpha.
To use, remove the vest from its container.
Alec, hello buddy,
Lightly
welcome.
tap
Member
and
for
open
15
the
months, Gold Frequent Flyer. Thank you very much for all of your ongoing support. Really appreciate that.
Attach it to the buckle in front and adjust securely around your waist. As you leave the plane and light blowing into the tube at shoulder level.
A water-activated light is attached to each vest. If necessary, we'll distribute additional life vests for children who weigh 35 pounds or less.
Now, before we take off, be sure your seat is upright and your tray table is put away. If you're seated in the business class cabin, ensure your suite door is open. Please note there is a placard on the door, visible when open, explaining how to use the suite door in case of an emergency. If you're seated in the main cabin, ensure your aisle armrests are lowered, and in the Delta Premium Select cabin, ensure your aisle armrests are
There she is.
As we come through the cabin for our final safety check, please let us know if you have any questions. And finally, now would be a good time for everyone to review the safety information card, which is in this pocket.
As we span this
Interesting, I can't see the nav lights.
we celebrate all that connects us. Thank you for choosing Delta to be a part of your journey.
Now, as we get ready for takeoff, please sit back, settle in, and have a wonderful flight. Thank you for flying with Delta.
Right then, folks, I think it's time. So, that's weird. That seemed to deactivate itself. Runway turn-off lights on. Let's bring those out. Nose onto that. Onto takeoff. Strobes on. Let's turn engine anti-ice off for now. Continuous relight is selected. Glancing at the overhead panel, everything looks good. Normal as we would expect. Water pressure is on normal. Okay, let's do it. Syracuse traffic data 5437 is lining up runway 28, taking off Syracuse to departure. Little bit of thrust to get us rolling. Plus 4 degrees for takeoff. 260 degrees for the wind speed, wind direction. Rami says GSX has been de-icing prior to pushback for you. It's interesting. Want as much of this runway as possible. Yeah, spoilers are already armed. We did that just before taxi. I'm conscious we are big old dirty heavy jet. Try and use as much of this as we can. Loga. Where we go? Little bit of left rudder needed. Not yet. Tapsi's having a couple of computer issues, which is causing us a few problems. A significant delay to our Osprey A310, sadly. 80 knots. Come on, girl. I've done the takeoff calculations using the EFB, but holy moly, that is coming up really fast. Is that good? Right, rejected takeoff. Delta 5437's rejected takeoff. Going to be vacating at Victor, taxiing Alpha. No, interesting, isn't it? Just kind of looking at all the gauges then, and some of you guys were saying their engine 2 looked problematic, so we aborted. I think that's our first RTO on the channel. Brake temps high and fans for the brakes on. Hot brakes, baby. I've got the toga button mapped, MG King. So I pressed it and it actually began to set itself on toga, but I will try and press that button there now, because perhaps they've got it configured differently. Okay, brake temps are high. Let's have a little look at the wheel page. Holy moly. Okay, well, we'll allow that to cool down. We'll keep going on the taxi, just help that air push past. We might have to hold short. Let's check everything else. So brakes, flaps and slats set to 15. Let's get rid of these for now and pop strobe back on automatic. We'll pop runway turn off lights off. We'll get rid of the spoilers. We'll rearm them because they deployed for our RTO as well. Information Alpha, hello buddy. And we will try it again. There goes David. Wowzers, look at that for a departure. Lovely jubbly. Southwest 737. A little bit more of Syracuse. And a little bit of mild panic looking at the end of the runway thinking, I wonder how good these brakes are, can we stop in time? Brakes are green now, so they are looking good. Temperatures are coming down nice and quick, so I think at this speed, by the time we get back to that threshold for another go at the departure, David will have a couple of minutes ahead of us, which is good for our spacing, and our brakes temperatures will be a lot better. Juliet Charlie Mike, hello. How do you perform a rejected takeoff? Do you just pull back on the throttle? That's a great question. So, a couple of steps kind of rely on you setting up the aircraft properly. So, auto brake needs to be on max, and the speed brake needs to be armed. With that in mind, once you're then working, moving forwards on the thrust and your thrust set, but you have to reject for whatever reason, all you need to do is bring that throttle, you just need to snap it back to idle, and it will actively or automatically, as you're pulling that throttle back, the aeroplane will automatically realise you're aborting the takeoff. It'll apply your max auto brake, it will deploy the spoilers, and then if you want to, you can use activate reverse thrust as well to help you get stopped quicker, which is what we did. Shut says you need to use something like SPAD or FSU IPC. The in-sim toga go-around mapping doesn't work. That's annoying. Hopefully they fix that. MG King said the same there. It doesn't work. The only thing it does is set the throttle to full thrust, but it does not activate toga. Interesting. I would call that a bug. Brits is saying, is this freeware? So this isn't. This is Payware Syracuse by VerticalSim. We're off towards Detroit Metro Wayne. That's freeware. I shan't worry about transmitting for the runway crossing because we can see left and right is clear. We've heard nothing on the radios either. Let's get back down here. Pop that on like so. Brake temperatures are looking really nice now, so I'm happy with those. Let's get back to that page. Strobes are on auto, so they're going to activate as we cross the threshold anyway. But actually, you know what, I might put them all on and line up on 28 for a second go. pop brake fan off. Fuel is good, Reese. Yeah, fuel is good. $11.3 is our preset takeoff fuel. Minimum. Actually, that's a good point. Hold on. Let me just check a calculation here. I think we're right on minimum fuel already. We'll have to add a little bit in. Just to be safe. It's better. It's still 1.0 up. Let's check that. It's on 1 up. Good stuff. Let's line up again. Syracuse traffic Delta 54, 37 is lining up runway 28. Syracuse 2 departure. Center of gravity is blanked because we didn't line it properly. Mark says, did you see the runway incursion in Chile where the Airbus hit the fire truck on its takeoff roll? 2 firefighters killed. We did. Absolute carnage. Doc saying we need more people spamming toga in the chat. I reckon that might help us accelerate faster, you know. Okay, brakes are set. I'm gonna ask it to set about 40% thrust. Anthony, welcome aboard. Thanks for subscribing. Stick forwards, off on the brakes. Toga. Pilot did an amazing job, Mark, of keeping that on the runway. Holy smokes. I mean, it was literally... I mean, how he stopped and people didn't die, I do not know. Anthony, this is VerticalSim Syracuse. Yeah, iniBuilds flight DTW looks nicer. Look at that for a difference in acceleration here, folks. I reckon Doc's right. I think it's the spamming toga in the chat. V1, rotate. Clear the runway. Let's follow the flight director. Positive rate, gear up. Nav, profile, autopilot 1 on. Yeah. Oh my god. I don't know what I've clicked there. Well done, Microsoft Flight Simulator. My fat fingers. Oh my good grief. Now I need to sort this out again. That'll do. Back in the flight deck. We're going to go right towards Wacker. Heading mode, discontinuity ahead. So we're on heading mode now. Let's clear that and we're going to go direct Wacker. Set. Insert. Nav mode. Let's keep it climbing. What are we doing? 320 for our cruise today. Follow the profile. 200 knots. Let's clear the flaps and spoilers.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we climb to our cruising altitude, we'd like to extend a special thank you to each of you, and a welcome back to our SkyMall members and Million Miles.
Look at that. Cloud looks great, doesn't it?
Your business and loyalty are greatly appreciated by the entire Delta family. fastened, any
Strobes
seatbelt
reflecting
sign is
there.
on. Even if the sign is off, please keep your seatbelt fastened in case we experience any unexpected rough air. We ask that you also please remember to use caution if opening the overhead bins to prevent injury from articles that may have shifted during takeoff.
Flaps are good. No lights on the
Now reaching
gear.
altitude where it's safe to use approved electronic devices. And a listing of these devices can be found in Sky Magazine in the seat pocket in front of you.
Tango, good morning. Climbing nice and
On today's
fast.
flight in the economy cabin, it'll be our pleasure to offer you complimentary Coca-Cola products, Starbucks coffee, water, juices, a variety of complimentary snacks, as well as a selection of our fresh eats items and all-day goodies.
There we are.
Beer, wine, and spirits are available complimentary for our first class and Delta Comfort Plus passengers, as well as available for purchase for the main cabin. A complete listing of available beverages, as well as of our fresh eats items, can be found in the menus in your seat pocket. Please be reminded that Delta accepts only major credit or debit cards for onboard purchases of beverages and snacks.
That was exciting, wasn't it? Little RTO.
To save 15% and earn double miles on all Delta purchases.
Through 10,000.
For your enjoyment, each seat is
Pop
equipped
that
with your
off.
own personal entertainment
And
system.
that's
On it, you can view a
those.
selection of complimentary as well as on-demand TV shows,
At
movies,
whacker
and
already.
music.
Accelerated to 325. Profile
Hold our desk
throttle.
with just a light tap of your fingertip. Feel free to use your own headsets. Otherwise, if you do need a headset, just let a flight attendant know they are yours.
Let's
complimentary for this
see.
and
We want
future
to have a look
flights.
at. Well, let's look at the pressure panel actually. Cabin pressure is increasing. And we're nice and clear of that, so let's get the seatbelt signs off. And I could turn wing anti-ice off, I think, as well. How is the A310 such a beast in the climb? You know what? I don't know. I think I just assume it's because it's so dumpy, tiny, but so powerful as well. Those engines are huge. Are they CF6? I mean, look at that. Whopper. Our cost index today should give us a cruise of Mach decimal 80, which is powerful and quick. Yeah, it's a short, fat plane with big wings. Suppose that helps. I mean, for such an old aeroplane, it's actually quite crazy, isn't it? How efficient aerodynamically the aeroplane was in its design, with its ability to climb so quickly, so powerfully with the engines that they chose. Pretty cool. Tap back in icing range. Just going to go to QATL and I'm going to stop the process on that one. Let's clear that discontinuity. Donao to Goose. So we haven't got a mega amount of distance really to run for this. There's our top of climb just after Dinas. And we have got weather radar switched on. We've got system 1 active. So on Navigraph, we put follow mode on. There's our departure. When we get to Donao, which is just here, we're going to join the Top Gun 2 RNAV arrival here via Donao. So Donao, Viper, Goose, Wolfman, and that's got a constraint at 280 knots at or above flight level 240. So actually we can check that in the FMC. Wolfman above flight level 240 with a plus and 280. MAMF, Top Gun at 280. Flight level 110. Hollywood between 10 and 8, so that's going for flight level 80 on the VNAV there, and 250 knots. That Chester 7000, flight level 70. Ghost, Ryder, both with constraints at 210 knots for speed there at 7,000 feet, and then from Ryder we're going to join the ILS runway 21 left. The initial approach fix, mandatory 7,000 feet, maximum 210 knots at Ryder. So I'm going to try this, B210 slash, to see if we can do a constraint to be below. B210. Ah. I'll put 200 in. Interesting. From Ryder, there's a double Ryder there, interestingly enough. So we'll clear that. The vectors are going to remain there actually, so that discontinuity has to be there. Ryder, well actually no, because Ryder, okay, so we can clear that looking at the charts. Therefore clear the discontinuity. Ryder, Toffee, Gives, Count, Tigers. Gives mandatory 5,000s. Count 5,000 for the radar fix. Tigers, Robbie. Ballas, 4,000. Looking at the plates here. Ah, yes, Doc. Thank you. Good point, well remembered. Minus 210. No, it doesn't like it. Holy moly. Weird, isn't it? Alice Nesby, 3,000. Buchel, 2,000. We want to be at 4,000 at Ballas. Nesby at 3,000. Buchel at 2,000, not above. That's at or above. We don't want that. We want to be at 2,000. Little tweaks that we've got to make here, and then from there we should be picking up the glide slope. Glide slope at 2,000, it says. Missed approach. Look at that. Interestingly, Zitka isn't in the mix there. There's the ILS frequency, 111.5. So over here in the centre of the box on the aeroplane, 111.5. Let's tune that now with a course of 216. Missed approach, climb to 1,100 feet with a climbing left turn to 4,000 outbound on DXO radial 122 to gauge 16 DME and hold. Continue climb and hold to 4,000 feet. And that's there on the MCP. At the end of the flight plan. (31,000 feet). We're almost about to level off then. Mach 80. Such a powerful aeroplane, isn't it? Just incredible. Decision heights on the charts. Ron Van der Sar says, is the VNAV correct? Because my top of descent is not correct and must calculate my own top of descent. No, I found it to be hit and miss in this, to be honest. $200. Landing elevation at the airfield, 645. Go away, Microsoft Flight Simulator. That's about 650, that's the closest we can get. My top of descent is showing there actually at Goose, which is about right. We have fiddled with quite a few of these constraints though. HGF with this one, I think because I only configured it an hour or so ago, I think the old YouTube algorithm hasn't put it out to people. But you're here, that's the main thing. Thanks for tuning in. Along with everyone else. Put my teeth in. Great to see so many of you tune in. Quite a last minute live stream, to be fair. And whilst we're flying along, I'm going to begin to configure for our second route back, which is Delta 5427. A310-304. Spotting 2 on right, expecting RLS-28 back into Syracuse. And that is HAL 3, Lincoln, JHW, and then Syracuse. Okay, nice and easy. 31,000 feet for the cruise for this return sector. After turnaround. The airport we're flying into is Detroit Metro Wayne at the moment. That's where we're going to do our turnaround to fly back to VerticalSim Syracuse. And interestingly, this Detroit scenery is freeware, and very shortly it's going to be competing, as we said at the start of today's live stream, it's going to be competing with payware from both iniBuilds and Orbex. Which is quite a challenge, I think, for it. But I've heard very good things about it, to be fair. And it looks fantastic on the screenshots. It is linked in the description for you guys to give it a go. I did see somebody earlier on, actually, on the initial takeoff roll that we rejected. I did see there, actually, that somebody had mentioned it's a frames per second killer, but we'll find out when we get there. Who knows? Good to see the top charts broken again. Let me just refresh that. Our ground speed is not 19 knots. This livery, by the way, is included in the Delta. It's in the iniBuilds iniManager, in the livery section of the A310 page. Detroit Metropolitan Wayne County Airports. $54.37. There we go. That top bar should be working a bit better now, with the exception of that top bar. Alberta, yeah, the firefighters are at fault there. It's lucky that no one else died. The controllers, the air traffic controllers, have an element of fault that should be attributed to them as well for that firefighter incident in Peru, in Lima. Absolute madness. Why on earth they went blatting onto the runway without even looking If the firefighter that was driving just looked left before he smashed onto the runway at high speed, he would have seen an A320 flying towards him and would have hit the brakes if he was a suitably trained driver. And that's half the problem, though. They won't be trained necessarily to the same level that folks here in the UK would be on driving on blue lights, and it's resulted in a couple of them losing their life. Luckily nobody on board died, because that was one heck of a smash. The pilots did an incredible job, as somebody rightly said earlier on. Wow, we're at Doneo already. We're in the star. KDTW. What do we got? -4 degrees for the temperature in Detroit. Dew point -6. Altimeter is 3027. No, 3025. Winds calm, but visibility only 5 statute miles in mild fog and haze. Mist, fog and haze. Holy moly, all three. Dew clouds 14,000 feet, broken at 23,000 feet. Oh, Mark, it'd have been horrendous. It would probably have been very tempting to swerve. The pilots did an incredible job in just keeping it straight, focusing on getting it stopped post-collision. There was nothing the pilots could have done at that speed. That's why a couple of things I've read on board, that's it, as Alberto has said, your natural instinct is veer away from the threat. The pilots just stayed straight, and that saved so many lives. Testament to their training. In something that would never have been dealt with in the sim, by the way, as well. It must be worth noting that as well. That would never have been a topic in their simulator training. You know, what to do if a fire truck goes blasting onto the runway in front of you at 140 miles an hour. There's no there's no quick reaction handbook reference stuff for that at all, is there? Madness. Right, there's the cabin. We've not checked the cabin out today. And there's our route. 37 minutes to go. I wonder how easy it would be. Like the Fenix, they've simulated the no smoking and seatbelt signs. It would have been quite interesting to see maybe iniBuilds work out how to make that happen on this as well. They've done emergency exit lights, but well, Mark, it was just a training exercise, from what I understand, for the fire trucks. Certainly, lots of places around the world, the airports have to reaccredit their fire service, check their response times. There has to be a fire truck on scene within a certain time based on what airport it is, and they have to regularly go and do that. What the heck is that on the end of the wing? Look at that. Is that a bug? There is no way that would be the light on the trailing edge of that wing. I haven't seen a video from inside the aircraft, Alberto. No, I've seen a video of somebody taxiing in another aircraft who caught it on video. Ryan, hello buddy. Been with us for 7 months. Thank you for your ongoing support. Welcome aboard. Shodan says that's called a shadow, quote unquote. Yes, pretty ugly shadow, isn't it? Can't moan, I suppose. It is a free aeroplane. Incredibly good free aeroplane at that, even with its funky bugs. Ooh, look. Who's that? Let's try and find them on Volanta. Yoink. That is American 4121 JFK to Chicago O'Hare. Awesome. David's there. He's at Deneo already. We don't have anyone else flying along today. Fairly short route, to be fair. If we keep going as well, keep going straight, we go over Lake Michigan and we can head towards Chicago O'Hare. And of course in the new sim update, that 40th anniversary update that was released the other day, Meigs Field is back. Exactly, but in a way you have to also remind yourself that even though it's free, Microsoft have paid iniBuilds a lot of money for it, so you would expect them to bug fix. I think this is kind of where the limitations of the MS marketplace really become quite noticeable. Like they said in their own Discord, they can't push fixes as quick as they would like because they have to pass it to a Sobo/Microsoft. You have to test it, package it, put it into the marketplace, and wait for that next marketplace update cycle. So you know, if this aeroplane, for example, in the future breaks for whatever reason, we won't necessarily get an immediate fix for it. We might have to wait a week. But then I suppose, like we've just said, it is remarkably good at being a freeware aeroplane. So I mean, I've got to say, I really like it as well. Really like it. Just put that weather radar on a slight tilt down. Try and capture us in descent. Keep smashing those likes, folks, as well while you're here. What's Wolfman? At or above flight level 240. And then we've got 40 miles. Mav at 229. Top Gun at flight level 110. That's a big drop. That's only 27 miles to get from, well, to drop 10,000 feet. So I might go into here, set Mav at, we'll set Wolfman at flight level 240. And we'll set Mav at 180. Or below. So that's now moved our top of descent marker. Look, it's pushed it to goose. That'll do. ILS is set, course is set. Oh, Alberto, you'll have to share it on Discord, buddy. It doesn't allow us to put links into the chat, sadly. To fight all those bots that we used to have appearing. Yeah, I forgot there's one across, isn't it? Okay, so let's reset that heading. We want Oh, it'd have been a horrendous impact, Mark. We'll set 7,000. Delta Tango says, is the A310 more or less manual flying compared to the PMDG 737-800? For example, the CRJ is quite manual and the A320 is quite automated. I would imagine it's probably half and half, to be honest. It's got that element of Airbus familiarity, but it's also got that weird familiarity as if it's a Boeing. Hello, Jared, welcome. Just pinged me, he's flying KLM Treble 1 today, saying on VATSIM, I'm currently watching your stream, big fan, thanks. Great to have you tuning in today. Tyranny, hello to you, saying, just wondering, I've got the Fenix and love the A310. Now, just deciding which to buy, by the way, GSX or PMDG 737. They're both very good, to be fair. I quite enjoy GSX now. It does take quite a bit of setting up, though. That's the only thing. But if you've not yet got a PMDG 737, then I would almost say that is a must-have aircraft add-on. You just need to decide whether or not you would want the 737-600 for about 30 or so pounds, if you would want the 700 as that in-between, or that 800 variant. Having said that, in the next couple of weeks we're expecting the PMDG 737-900, which is going to be awesome. Very, very excited for that. That's going to be great. You know what I forgot to do? Call for standard. Naughty pilot. Yeah, as Doc's saying, be careful not playing around the FMC too much. A lot of people are having issues with it where the WASM module crashes. They're tinkering around in the FMC too much, and that's a real shame. Stuart, greetings. Let's have a look at our approach page. So we're landing config 3040. There's our flap speeds and our MDA 832. There we are. When we get to final approach, we need to make sure final approach mode is active. And wing correction is 0, but I wonder if we just watch these speeds here, or at least VAP. Maybe hopefully this will change to 141. Oh yes, we've just added 5 knots for approach. Epic. Yeah, Delta Tango, I'd say the PMDG is kind of in between the CRJ and the A320, sorry. The A310 is a little bit more Airbus than PMDG. So, you know, it's, if you were to have a sliding scale between CRJ and A320, the PMDG would sit closer to the CRJ ever so slightly, but more in the centre still. It would be centre left towards the CRJ, and then the A310 would be slightly to the right of that, I would imagine. But they're near enough the same in relation to their level of pilot input required. Certainly more so compared to the A320. But that's great, that's what we want. And when you complete a flight in an aeroplane that demands more from you as a pilot, I generally find it a much more enjoyable experience for a flight simmer. Or at least in my mind, I find it much more rewarding. Thomas is looking forward to the Flybauer A380 or the Dynamic Flight A350. They're both going to be great. I think they're still quite a way away though, haven't they? I must admit I've not kept up to date with that dynamic or DFD A350 for a little while. I've not really heard any updates. Like I said, I've not really been following it too much. A380 looks like it's coming along nicely. Still a long way to go for that though. What's the runway? Oh my goodness, Detroit's huge. 2-1 left. Mega size runway, 3,048 meters. It's 10,000 feet long runway length. Crikey, there's a long old taxi back as well. Holy moly. Where did we say we were parking? Gate A57? I've got no idea where that is. Taxi charts. Where's me parking? Right, this is all the way around on the south ramp. So we're going to have to taxi. We'll vacate Whiskey 2 or Juliet. I'll do a low auto brake, reverse idle I think on this one. Vacate Whiskey 2 or Juliet, head down Juliet. So if we taxi in. It's going to be taxiing in via Juliet. Uniform 9. And then uniform 8. Wow. That's a long journey. Okay, top of descent. We should. We're in profile mode. And we're in nav. Profile descent. 7,000. Tyrone says, how about the Heavy Division 787? I'm kicking myself getting the basic version of Microsoft Flight Simulator as I've missed out on it unless I upgrade for $100. Yeah, don't upgrade. Absolute waste of money. Oh my god, how steep is this for a descent? $4,000 foot per minute. Let's interrupt that. VNAV is not smooth. Right, where's my stars? Aruba flight level 240. And then MAV at 11,000. Yeah, always watch it like a hawk, folks, and intervene when you need to. Because it can be rather messy at times. So the one thing with this, a lot of people comment that the VNAV is pretty rough. TAT warning. Let's put wing lights on. Stewie, yeah, an update's fairly close by the sounds of it. It's in beta testing at the moment. Let's do 2,200 foot per minute for a little while. Yeah, 220 would be great fun when that comes in the future too. Through 10,000 feet, we're going to tune to local pressure, 3025 inches of mercury. Oh, we've got Chicago Center online. Oh, they're not covering us though. Boo. That's a real shame. Did I configure the departure for the next route back? Detroit to Syracuse. Free-file flight, VATSIM. Here we go. Make sure I've bagged that call sign for the next leg. TCAS sim brief, let's get rid of that, we don't need it. Flight plan files, Delta 5427 for the way back. Yeah, David A, it's a noticeably much more enjoyable experience, isn't it? It's showing us VDEV there, look at that. And that's through its own fault. Vertical deviation's well off. Also, look at speed. Almost an overspeed territory. Early iteration of VNAV technology. A lot of people have said, I was kind of reading through people's comments that are a lot more knowledgeable on the A310 than I ever will be. A lot of them were saying that you had to really watch the VNAV on this aeroplane to make sure that it was behaving as you expected it to. Now it's saying we're above the profile, so let's go back to 2200 foot per minute. I just want to try and set that diamond in the middle there. We'll go to 290. Well, 280 will do. And then we're going to go through transition 3025. That VDEV will change in a second. Once we pass MAV, it will reassess based on our waypoint for Top Gun. But hey, it's enjoyable. It keeps it busy for you when you're flying this. It is a very nice aeroplane. You've got to be on it. It's very much a thinking pilot's plane, isn't it? Crossing MAV. Funnily enough now the VNAV's all over the place. Look at that, it's snapped across to be, we're well below the profile now, apparently. So we'll do 1600 foot per minute. Maybe 1400 foot per minute, we'll get back on that profile. And we've got that haze coming in that we mentioned that was on the METAR. We had haze, mist and fog in the area. Automator out, absolutely, yeah. It adds an element to the enjoyable nature of the aeroplane. Dusty2, hello buddy. Currently doing some decorating before a late shift. Awesome. We're flying back, by the way, folks. Those of you who like to usually fly along, if you might have missed today's live stream begin, there's a second leg out of Detroit back to Syracuse. Shaquille can't wait for the DC-10 to come out. Can't you adjust VNAV? We fiddled around with VNAV earlier on to make it a little bit neater because it was even wilder on what it was asking us to do. But it's fine. We'll just use vertical speed. 7,000. $20 miles to Top Gun. We're going to be between 14,000 and 11,000 feet. Lawrence, by coincidence, I'm descending into Detroit 2. Just came onto YouTube to have a look what's going on, and I've seen you all also doing it. Hello from behind you. Fantastic. A lot of my screenshots are failing to upload again. It's just the size of them being so big. Interestingly, oh, hold on, I can see you there. Jazz 771 flying out of Toronto. Lawrence there behind us. Fantastic. We have got David somewhere in that fog up ahead of us. So I might wind the speed down to 270 here. This is looking alright. Okay, let's poop the music. For now, we can enjoy those cabin sounds and the engines roaring away for a little while. We don't appreciate the sound work often enough, do we? That was weird. You see those ailerons flapping away there? Like it was trying to work out what to do. Let's just watch that for a second longer. Little jitter of the flapper on there. Oh, that's weird, isn't it? Very twitchy. It's almost like there's a gap in the animation, so it pops. Could that be another bug? I mean, also the textures are horrendous. Look at that. Nasty. That's very odd, that animation on the ailerons. We're seeing all sorts of things today, aren't we? Yes, there's a lot of waypoints. .240. Lawrence, well, it won't be spoiler access, don't forget, because we're not actually adding any controls. It's the autopilot. Does the A310 have decent wing flex? Yet to see it, to be honest. Yet to see it. Supposedly it does have some. Let's get the lights. Doink, doink. And signs are set. We'll give them a double ding. 10 minutes to landing. And through 10,000, speed is basically 250 knots. That's good, and decreasing to 240. Quick check of the charts. Ghost at 210 is next. VDEV is well off. The engines are great, and that is a lot of fog and mist in front of us, isn't it? Detroit traffic, Delta 5437 is Airbus A310, altimeter 3025, inbound on the Top Gun 2 arrival, expecting ILS runway 21 left, inbound Hollywood 8,000 feet, descending 7,000. Will report rider. Detroit traffic. Auto brake low. Interesting. We wait for some flap retraction or something, perhaps. Going to fire up Coupe ATL as well for GSX in Detroit. We've got no custom profile for Detroit Metro Wayne, unfortunately, but what it will allow us to do is use its default logic, which is good enough. Chester at 7,000, Ghost Rider 7,000 coming up. We are out of the Canadian border now, we're back into the United States. And then we can get our charts ready. Rider 210 mandatory. Pop that onto the nearest to a 15-mile range. Whilst we level off onto altitude hold at 7,000, which is what's become active now. Alt hold not star on the annunciator. We're going to set to 2,000. Pukul, the waypoint.
Detroit traffic southwest 700, passing right at 7,000 on the Top Gun arrival ILS.
Let's see what it does here. I'll put it back on profile. P descent is armed. Rich, no worries, buddy. 115, 216, they're both set. Light signs. We've got icing on at the moment as well. We'll turn that off shortly. And Detroit Metro Wayne is somewhere in that fog. Go Lydiana. No one actually wants to go to Detroit. It's got a massive airport. Another little screenshot. Yeah, that's a lot of fog and mist. It's pretty bang on the METAR, isn't it? Gotta say. Got contrails of somebody flying overhead. That'll be that American Airlines flight we saw earlier on. I'm going to put ignition to continuous relay because I'll probably forget, and we're going through fog and mist. I'd imagine it wants it on. That's all set as required. Bleeds are good. Yeah. So normal recall there, it's showing normal. Back to the engine page. Automator's only ever passed through Detroit on a connection to Salt Lake City. We should get P descent active in a second.
Detroit
traffic, Jazz 711 is passing through 7000, Chester 3 RS runway 21 approach.
We'll go for slats 15. Detroit traffic, Delta 5437 is overhead, rider 7,000 feet, 210 knots, reducing 180 knots, and we'll report establishing ILS 21 left, Detroit traffic. I can't get the ruddy recall page off. There we go. That's in icing range, so we've got icing still out. That's good. What do we want here? 216. Oh my god, that was a worry. 246. Gonna go for that one now. Heading select mode. Lap 15. Spoilers arms. Very foggy. There we go. ILS mode is active now. We've selected the lock arm. Interestingly, we can't get auto brake. We seem to have an auto brake failure. Although it might be because the wheels aren't down yet.
Detroit traffic, Jazz 711 is turning right to a heading of 335.
So at the moment, this is interesting. It's put us down to a speed that's too slow already, basically.
Detroit traffic, 749. 10 miles south, ILS left. Detroit traffic.
Lock's active. Oh, you know what? I forgot that, didn't I? Oh yeah, as Dirty 2 has just mentioned as well, and Sean. Yes, well spotted. I always forget that in this now. Oddly enough, we discussed that when we flew it the other day, didn't we? So it's because the landing gear was not in the off position, basically, that's why. QNH is set, that's all done. We've got the approach briefed. Freezing fog indeed. Look at that. Or better still, look at that. Detroit traffic Delta 5437 is established. ILS 2 on left, number 2, 18 miles, speed 160 knots, Detroit traffic. Yeah, Delta Tango, I don't even think we need brakes like you're saying there. Naturally, I think the friction will take us. Glide slope is now armed as well, and is moving. $15 miles. We want it to target 160 till 4 still. Glide slope's now active and we're descending. Interestingly, I would have thought there would have been some weather. We're not getting any. What we are getting though is an indication of a fairly decent crosswind. Gear down. Let's go full flap. Great animation. Feet on the rudder pedals. And we're going to try and get it to hold 160 till 4. Minimum set, flaps are all set as required, gears down 3 green, auto brake set, and spoilers are armed. Very bumpy. Barely hear David. There we go. Eight miles. Figured very early, didn't we? Missed approach was to 4, so we can flick that to 4. 216. We actually will be a climbing left turn above 1,100, so we'll keep runway heading on, which is a course of 216 till 1,100 feet for the go around, should that be required. And it's going to be a reverse idle touchdown. Still can't see the runway. We can see the land below though, just about. Very poor visibility. Minimums is 200 feet. we got? Other views here. Oh, that's better. Oh, look at that. I've got the shadow as well. Epic. Okay, back in the business end. Let's focus.
Detroit traffic, Jazz 711, 10 miles, final runway 21.
Yeah, this is bang on the METAR, by the way. Absolutely bang on. Still looking. Oh, there's the approach lights. We've got it. Interestingly, we're but 3 red on the glide slope. Anyway. First time flying into Detroit Metro Wayne. Autopilot off. And another click to confirm. 2 red, 2 white, just about visible. And we're going to hand fly this little section here. Ooh, a little bit of sink there. Try and improve on my touchdown from the other day. Reverse green and idle decel. It's not actually doing reverse idle, I don't think. Oh, it is, I think. Firm landing at 268. That's not too bad. I'm happy with that. 80 knots. 60 knots. We'll vacate here at Whiskey 2. I was trying to remember the tip from the other day about that continuous pull on the stick, not chasing the flare, but just having that continuous pull, so that's what we were doing. Detroit traffic, Delta 5437 has vacated runway 21 left at Whiskey 2, taxi to stand gate Alpha 57 via Whiskey Juliet, Uniform 9 and Uniform 8. Detroit traffic. Brake temperatures. Brake fan on. Delay takeoff. Let's clear the master caution. And let's clear the status page there, sorry.
Jazz 711, short final runway 21. Your plan call for air travel, then she'll once again select Delta Airlines. Thank you and have a great time here.
Okay, let's prime this. Holy moly. Gate Alpha. Too small. Stand by. Alpha 56, perhaps. Alpha 66. Detroit traffic, Delta 5437, change of stand, stand 66, Alpha 66. Can't fit. Delta. Look at this for a bit of freeware, folks, eh? APU bleed. How good is that? We'll explore this very briefly on the ground as well, folks. Oh, hello. That was the ill-fated previous sim update braking issue, where it locks the brakes if you're turning. Speed brakes, I thought I'd retracted them, but I just noticed the ECAM memo there suggesting otherwise. Uniform 9.
Detroit traffic 711, clear 21 left, taxiing to International Gate.
Juliet Charlie Mike flew a Cessna from Ann Arbor around Detroit in real life years ago. My friend was a pilot there. It was a really nice experience. Oh, it's such a vast airport. Didn't realise it was this big. And this is freeware. I mean, it does beg the question, is a payware airport required if this is free? Got a tunnel over there as well, you've got some road network stuff going on, you've got the overbridge. We'll explore this in a bit more detail. My god, the A310 is loud. How good is that? Frames are pretty good as well. This is a great airport. Free as well. So good. Is that David? Alpha 66 is up here somewhere, so we're almost there. Ah, Doc. Why did you delete Automator's message? There was a butter emoji. And it was butter, I'm gonna say. 200 and something foot per minute. I'm happy with that. 1.18 G. What did I say it was? 66. There it is. Big bright lighting. Let's get the taxi lights off. Delta Tango says, sometimes I wish payware companies could pay these generous creators to use this as a starting point for their coding. That would really incentivize the creation of fantastic freeware, but I suppose then in response to that, it would be to the detriment of freeware developers. Yeah, Automator, no idea why. There is internal sections to this freeware, to be honest. It did say firm landing, as Mark says. Oh, yeah, that's fair enough. This is a free airport, though, so this doesn't cost you anything. So why not? Car brakes on, and we'll cut the engines. And we'll request deboarding. Oh, no, maybe not. You parked a bit too far. 0.3 meters. Oh, you know what? Beacon. I always forget, don't I? Rookie. Even the fire trucks come to have a look at our smoky brakes. How's that? Looks good. And this doesn't have a GSX profile for the airport, so it's using its own logic to try and work out what it needs to do with the passengers and the cargo containers and all that sort of thing. Quite smart. What's that aeroplane meant to be there? That little aircraft SPT 444. No idea what that is. No one, so it's just giving us a generic one. Look at that. We got ice on the nose of the aeroplane as well, look. It does have an interior. Look at this. Freeware airport. Flickering textures and things, but he has said that an update is coming soon. Dirty 2. Sadly, there's no progress on the Retro Osprey livery yet because Tapsi's had issues with his PC. That's pretty clear as well, that's well good. Having said that, he has said that he's hoping for another weekend and it'll be done. What's frustrating is Paddy actually volunteered to do one, but because Tapsi had said he'd already started, Paddy didn't want to sort of step on his toes. Should we have a look at the tower, see if anything's in the tower? Probably not. Yeah, the developers basically said what is and isn't modelled. Swedish guy flies, hello to you, welcome. Asking where can I find the airport. Yeah, there's no interior there. It's in the description, buddy. Just in the description of the live stream. I mean, dare I say this is almost better. Oh, and this is actually, this is better than some payware airports that we've had recently. How cool is this? Oh my days, it's actually got a little metro monorail that's animated in the terminal. That's fantastic. That is the first time I've seen that outside of a payware airport. I think the only other one I've seen where that is the thing is it WFSS Singapore Changi? I think it's got the monorail going through. And Latin VFR's Miami as well, I think, from memory, has like a monorail system. Here's a couple of passengers. All looking at an animated fountain. Lawrence, yeah. Crazy difference, isn't it? I don't know if you guys can see that particularly well on stream. Juliet Charlie Mike says there are 2 trams. They meet in the middle of the airport. We'll have to keep an eye out for that second one then. What else do we have? Big car park facility. Whopper of a car park facility. Yeesh. Rob saying, as a native Detroiter, this is very accurate. There is a tunnel, so the one I've downloaded has a tunnel on it, and I think we can see it in the distance, so let's go and have a little look. Can't believe this is free. Great effort by the developer. Roads are fairly difficult in the sim, to be fair, but he's just used the satellite imagery to make it work. Certainly from a distance you wouldn't notice. There's actually the taxiway tunnels. Look at that. A little bit iffy on the animation, but that's more of a sim limitation. Certainly can't blame the developer for that. That's great. And over there, I'm not sure what's over there actually. Should we zip over and have a look? Camera. Zoom, zoom. What's this? Is this a domestic terminal? A little bit choppy on frames. I think that's GSX though, really, more than anything else. Causing us a couple of problems. I've got no idea what this is. Is it a massive car park? Oh, the ground textures are really nice as well. Who dat? Air Canada Express. Is that Lawrence? Can't believe this is free for an airport. Should we get configured for the return, folks? Baggage unloading progress 100%. Still got 100 passengers left to deboard, or 80 passengers left to deboard, disembark. That's what's nice about GSX, really. It forces you to just wait for the passengers to deboard, and when you're exploring somewhere new, it gives you the opportunity to go and explore and have a little look around the airport. Certainly if it's the first time you've arrived at a particular scenery, it's always worthy of exploring this. So this is freeware. Really, really good job by the developer there. Whoever they are, thank you very much if you are watching. Great effort. Dirty2, have a good one, buddy. Lawrence saying that's the international terminal. Ketan, awesome terminal graphics being so it is free. It is, isn't it? Even the spots, spot 3 November. And we're back. A little bit choppy on the old frames there with GSX doing its thing. Delta Tango, have a good day at work. Hope you've enjoyed the first leg. Detroit has them split by carriers since Detroit is a Delta hub. They have the big fancy McNamara terminal, which I assume is this one, right? Everyone else is relegated to the Old North terminal. Thanks, Rob, for the information there. Probably turn the brake fans off now, to be honest. Right. Disconnect from VATSIM. Okay. Hilarious element of timing there. Literally, as I said, let's disconnect from VATSIM. Streamlabs OBS crashed, which meant that well, yeah, the sim dried up because it didn't have a feed anymore from the streaming software. First time that's happened though. Odd. Either way, we're back. Thanks all for staying. Well, I say all of you, 23 of you for sticking with us. Appreciate it. Hopefully the other folks tune back in shortly. So I paused at where I said disconnected. What we've done is we've gone menu, ACARS, request sim brief. Company route uplink is done, so we can clear that message. And there's our flight plan. Oh my giddy aunt. I think we're back again. Streamlabs crashed again. How strange. Not sure why. Working on it though, working on the idea. Yeah, don't know why Streamlabs crashed a second time in a row. That's very bizarre. These things don't happen, do they, often at all on the channel? So, first time experiencing Stream. Right, we should be back again, third time lucky. No idea what Streamlabs is doing at the moment, but my internet's not gone down. That's the strange thing. It's just Streamlabs being problematic. Really, really weird. Not really sure why. Anyway, what were we doing? We were doing EFB stuff. By the way, I don't know if it's going to crash again. Absolutely no idea. But we will press on and just see where we get, how far we get. Okay, pre-file flight, we've done that. Let's go to SimBrief dispatch. Look at us. Weights 10,540, so 10.6. Passengers 230. Oh wow, is this almost full then? $230, cargo 5.7 ton, which gives us zero fuel weight of 104.2. Actually, it's 111,219. So let's go full. $110,626. Zero fuel weight. Takeoff weight 121.3. Okay, so that's just slightly under. That's really heavy. Heaviest we've operated, actually. The new Detroit Metropolitan Wayne County Airport scenery hasn't arrived yet, Warhawk. It's been released imminently or in the near future by both iniBuilds and Orbex, but this is a freeware version, which actually causes me to think we don't need the payware ones, but they may offer something else entirely that this one doesn't, perhaps.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Delta Sky Team and our global partners,
Boarding is in progress.
as you're making your way to your seat, we kindly ask that you please step into the row and out of the aisle as quickly as possible. While those passengers
Okay, so
make their way to their seats,
block 10.5.
if you're traveling with a larger rollerboard, please place any overhead bins, either wheels or handle skirts on either side of the aircraft.
Zero fuel weight,
Keep in mind that the overhead bins
111.
will come in directly above your seat.
Actually, is that 102?
Utilize the next available space.
Where is it?
You brought in a second item with you, such as a briefcase, tote bag,
110.6.
go ahead and utilize that space under the seat in front of you, so that we can utilize that overhead bin space for your larger bag.
Takeoff gross weight is 120.7. Landing weight 114.4. Center of gravity is 22.8, 1.8 up.
While we're here at the gate. However, once we close our boarding door, you must please place these items into airplane mode or turn off your cellular service.
It's about there.
Please also note that if you will be working on a laptop computer or enjoying any other larger
That's all
electronic
good.
they must be
So
stowed
in at A and B.
under the seat in front of you or in overhead bins. Please do not stow these
We'll do
items
takeoff
in
speed
pockets
shortly.
directly
Detroit's
on the floor, or
departing.
hold them on your lap during taxi, takeoff, and landing. This is not just a Delta policy, but an FAA regulation for your
2-1 right. Make sure I get this right. So DTW 21 right, PAL 3 via Lincoln. We've got 31,000 feet, flight level 310, and we are going to have direct Syracuse ILS 28. So here for the SID, 21 right, PAL 3 via Lincoln, insert. We can compare that against our Navigraph Explo 12, hopefully not. We'll keep our fingers crossed. We will press on regardless. Let's load the new flight. So for this we go into the flight tab on a Navigraph, unload, import flight from SimBrief, Detroit to Syracuse, like so. L3 Lincoln 21 right as a transition, that's automatically added in there, and approaches, we're expecting ILS 28. We'll do straight on final there. So there's going to be an element of vectoring for this. And that's our departure. So runway 21 right. So it's going to be initially taking off, then a left turn to heading 161 degrees to Winners, max 230, and then we're going to turn eastbound Ussie, surf under 7,000 feet, out to Howe, and then off to Lincoln. Then away we go. Nice little route. Taxi, 21 right, is up here. So we're going to push start, face north on uniform 9, and we'll taxi out on uniform Golf, cross 9 left, Hotel 1, Mike 6, we'll use the full length. We're flying back to Syracuse, Nighthawk. And our diversion today is JFK. Okay, so we need to reset a number of things, including the thing at the top of your screen, but ground speed's still broken for the Fly Life studio. Yeah, Matthew, it was a great shout. Good morning to you. Matthew's the one that let us know about this airport scenery, said it was particularly good for freeware. 5427. And Valanta, start a new flight. We might have a little bit of ATC, but I'm just going to look at the flight planned route here to see what it gives us. No, it's not. So we've got Chicago to the west, Toronto to the north. We're staying on Unicom, sadly, the whole way. Oh well, never mind. At Syracuse, what we can do is we can type in KSYR star ILS 28. No stars. And that's it. Yeah. No stars available, it's just straight to the approach. That's it. Insert. Tilly's in B, Syracuse 28, lovely stuff. Takeoff page. Most of the passengers are almost boarded. We can have a look at this. Reset everything. 2585, surface is dry, QDM 209 degrees. Wind from the METAR. .200 degrees at 6 knots. 200, 06. Outside air temperature is 00 degrees or freezing, and I'm gonna have to convert this because I'm using HPA 3025, thankfully. Oh, we're back again. I have no idea what's going on. I've noticed crash pad handler keeps popping up on Streamlabs, which is a bit frustrating. Don't actually know what it means. Certainly never had this before, that's for sure. Really sorry, folks. I've got no idea how to even prevent it. 144, 146, 150. I'm wondering if maybe just things being at GSX running, this freeware scenery, everything else running, it's just pushing the system a little bit too much. But the internet's still working, the sim's still working, everything else is working fine, it's just Streamlabs. 150. It's interesting, pitch trim. $150. Add 5, 155. We'll select preset now as well. And that HAL departure, max 230 knots. We'll set 230. I feel like it's just going to go again at some point. Boarding complete. That time it lasted a little bit longer, but who knows. -5. Heading. We'll set 161 initially. And below 7. That's all good, that's all good. Flex temp was 57. So we'll set that like so. Boarding complete. Prepare for pushback. Do you require de-icing? Yes. Let's watch. I have no idea what to expect here with this. Hoping they tell us when it's coming, actually. That'll help. In the meantime, let's just keep pushing ahead. That's set. That's set. 1,000 above, 1,000 above. So both of those are set. KJFK though. For our alternate. That all looks good. That's set. 2,000. They're on neutral. That's 0. Lovely. Oh, here's the... Is this the de-icer tug? It's come from underneath while using the road network. Here they come. I was just going underneath the engine. This is because it doesn't have a profile, I suppose, but this is very exciting. Let's see. I'm not sure what to expect. Aircraft. Oh. Alright, we'll do type 1. 75%. We'll go with GSX's recommendation based on temperature, as it says. Oh, through the wing then. Oh, come on. Don't do this to me. I want a good screenshot. Up again. Let's get to the cabin. Let's try and get a cabin view. Hey there. That's great. That's so cool. What else can I do? I assume that's them done. So they're gonna zoom off and we're gonna push back.
De-icing and anti-icing completed. Anti-icing code is fluid type 1. Concentration at 75%. I'm disconnected. Good day.
Good day. Oh, that was fun. I've not seen that before. Off goes the lead. That was quite smart. That was cool. I did like that. Beacon can go on. APU is fired up and on bleed. Everything else is looking good. We've got no white lights. Pitch trim, yaw damper, engine trim's all on. They're showing fault, but rightly so.
Due to icing conditions, please stand by for engine start until push completed and brakes set.
See what signs are on. That was the world's fastest de-icing.
Hello, Captain. We're ready for
Okay.
pushback.
Where's my guy? Is that? Oh, he's just going underneath the nose. Gimme, gimme, gimme. Well, that was quite good, I've got to say. There's like a little bit of an extra. So when we...
Departure check completed. Bypass pin inserted.
We're going to push start facing east. Detroit traffic, Delta 5427, Airbus A310, altimeter 3025 on stand. Alpha 66, push start facing east on uniform 9. Okay, well, we are ready for pushback.
Locking gear.
X-Plane 12 is Robert saying, I hope they port GSX to Xbox. I'm not sure how it would work with Xbox, to be honest. It would obviously need to be available on MSFS, but in the marketplace. But the problem is, you then have QATL, which is an additional program, nose left. It's an additional program which runs alongside it.
Commencing push. Due to icing conditions, please stand by for engine start until push completed and brakes set.
Interesting. So it's telling us not to start the engines yet. That's back on nav. That's important. Might as well arm nav and profile mode for the time being. And we can pop ignition A on, so it's ready. Packs come off. Cabin goes quiet. Very quiet. So it's going to want us to push back, complete the pushback, park brake set on. GSX, yeah, so QATL, which is all the brains behind GSX, runs via that QATL basically. Without it, GSX doesn't run.
Set parking brakes.
Waiting your confirmation for good engine start.
Are you joking? Well, there's a little bug, I think. To those engines. Brian, good afternoon, welcome. Won't actually let me confirm good engine start. Last time I had to do this, actually, we needed to restart QATL, which I might do by clicking that. Cool. So on GSX now, that should be, yeah, it should be all pretty much muted. That's good. So I might as well actually just close QATL. Flaps 15 on the spoilers. Flex is set, that's all set. Nav profile are armed. We want auto brake on max. We're going to pop the nose lights on. We'll pop the landing lights out of the belly for now. Strobes are on auto at the moment. Engines. TCPs both looking stable. Yep. So we will pop the APU bleed off. That's now gone to auto for engine 1 and 2 bleeds. Looking good. And we'll turn the APU off. That's all set. No warnings on the overhead. That's confirmed 15. And rudder trim is set to 0 as well. So, rock and roll. Detroit traffic, Delta 5427, taxi 2, hold point Mike 6, runway 2 on right, via Uniform 9, Uniform Golf, cross 27 right, Mike, and to hold at Mike 6, Detroit traffic. And with the Luke Air tool once again.
At this time, in just a few moments, we'll be showing you the safety video. Once the video has concluded, we'll be in the aisles to answer any questions you have before we're seated for taxi out.
The safety demo.
Again, thank you for choosing Delta today. My name is Susan. I'm your purser for today's flight, along with Charles in the economy cabin. We do welcome you aboard.
Real-time tech says, have you ever flown a real-world aeroplane? I've flown a few light aircraft, Grob 109B, Grob Tutor, both in the Air Cadets, the Royal Air Force Air Cadets in the UK. I've also flown a PA-28 as well, so small light aircraft. Sat in the flight deck of many big aircraft, 747s, 777s, Airbus A320, 21, A319, A380 and C-17 Globemaster, to name a few.
We are a planet of amazing differences.
One of cultures and ideas that span our world and link us each to another. Whoever you are.
Wherever you're going,
We are proud to fly you there.
This is fantastic for freeware. So good. Download it, folks. Why not? Might as well.
Welcome aboard.
The link is in the description.
Our first priority on every flight is the safety of our customers and crew. So, before we depart,
please pay attention to this important safety message.
Be sure that all carry-on items are securely stowed in an overhead bin and place smaller items.
Matthew says, but if you ask me, he's pretty darn close to a CRJ type rating. Thank you very much. I love the confidence still.
Please ensure all aisles, exits,
You helped very much with the CRJ, Matthew. I appreciate it. All that knowledge.
To fasten, insert the metal tip into the buckle and adjust the strap so it's low and tight across your lap. To release the belt,
Tyranny, it's the Luke Air tool. It's on flightsim.to. It's free. It also has something called PACSIM, which is very similar to self-loading cargo. Oops. Detroit traffic Delta 5427 crossing runway 27 right.
For everyone's safety, federal regulations require all
Strobes are on auto, they should automatically activate. That's a point. Nav's still on. System 1.
Smoking, including the use of e-cigarettes, is not allowed on any Delta flight, and federal law prohibits tampering with, disabling, or destroying a restaurant smoke detector.
There are 8 exits on this plane, 8 doors, 4 on each side.
Holy moly.
Each door has as a raft. All exits are clearly marked with an exit sign.
Afternoon dose, I love it.
And cabin visibility is reduced.
Destroyed traffic, Delta 5427 is vacated 27 right.
On this airplane, identify each exit with a green symbol. Arrows indicate
yeah, there's loads of different announcements available. Tyranny.
Keeping in mind the nearest exit might be behind you. In the event of an evacuation, leave all carry-on items behind. It's unlikely, but if cabin pressure changes, the panels above your seat will open, revealing
there's a firefighter trying to do a Peru.
Or red streamer towards you until the tube is fully extended. Place the mask over your nose and mouth, slip the elastic strap over your head, and adjust the mask if necessary. Breathe normally and note that oxygen is flowing, so don't worry if the bag doesn't inflate. Be sure to adjust your own mask before helping others.
A water evacuation is also unlikely. But just in case, life vests are located under your seats in the main cabin. If you're seated in the business class or Delta Premium Select cabin, life vests are located either in a compartment adjacent to your seat or under your armrest. To use, remove the vest from its container by pulling on the tab and then opening the pouch. Slip the vest over your head, wrap the strap around your waist, and attach it to the buckle in front, and adjust securely around your waist. As you leave the plane,
looking good.
Business class cabin, ensure your suite door is open. Please note there is a placard on the door, visible when open, explaining how to use the suite door in case of an emergency. If you're seated in the main cabin, ensure your aisle armrests are lowered, and in the Delta Premium Select cabin, ensure your aisle armrests are raised.
As we come through the cabin for our final safety check, please let us know if you have any questions. And finally, now would be a good time for everyone to review the safety information card, which is in your seat pocket.
As we span this amazing world of ours, we celebrate all the connections. Thank you for choosing Delta to be a part of your journey.
Now, as we get ready for takeoff, please sit back, settle in, and have a wonderful flight. Thank you for flying with Delta.
116, wasn't it? My fat fingers there clicking stuff I didn't need to click. Let's pop that onto continuous relight. Strobes can go on. Nose light tubes. Taxi. My god, the click spots. Pop that on for now. I was confused if that's on or off, but it's all looking good now. Detroit traffic, Delta 5427 is lining up runway 21 right, taking off HAL 3 departure. Detroit traffic. It's a little bit heavy on frames, Brian, so I'm getting about sort of 15 to 20 frames per second at the minute, with quite a lot going on in the sim though, to be fair. I think I left TCAS on. But also the Tobii eye tracker sometimes can be a little bit clunky as I look around. That was very jittery there though. Okay, so go for 40%. Off on the brakes. Click spot for toga. Let's get a little stick forwards. Matthew saying beta version of the A310 is gaining 10 to 15 frames per second. Apparently that would be much needed. Okay, thrust set, speeds alive. Ooh, all of a sudden a big old jump to 80 knots there. Centralise that stick. It's the Luke Airtool Swift Fighter. LukeAirtool.net or search for it on flightsim.to. Come on, go. V1, rotate. V2, positive rate, gear up. Autopilot 1 on. And we're going to go 116 to wings. Already.
Right slope. Right slope.
Winners. Nav. Let's click the gear. We're in profile mode. I might as well just set 310 for now. Allow it to achieve its own constraints as we go. That's up, that's done, that's done. 3180, let's go flaps 0/15. Going through 190. Slats to 0. There we are. Sector 2 of 2 commenced. Real-time text says, can you fully configure a real-world flight by your own? I would imagine you probably would be able to, certainly in an Airbus. I think those of us who are very familiar with it on flight sim are probably quite happy to be able to try that. Interesting. I'll get rid of the eye. That's fine. Let's pop the runway turn-off lights off, and we'll pop the nose light off as well, and the wing lights, why not? Continuous ignition goes off, and turning right. Beautiful departure, look at this. Mark, yeah, you're correct. We're on Unicom though, so... There we are, we're back. I feel like we're going to have to really keep an eye on Streamlabs for the second leg. Very weird what it's doing though. There's no reason why. Bear in mind, nothing has changed. It's a bit odd that we are having this issue. Bacon, it's not an internet issue, it's Streamlabs that's crashing. Streamlabs OBS. All of a sudden, deciding to create its own crash dump and then freeze the program out from the stream. Really weird. I might need to dig around for an alternate, to be honest, looking at maybe a different type of stream program. Alan, it's a little bit like the Boeing 737 where you put the ignition onto continuous. Basically the same principle for this going on to cont relight, but I think it's company dependent. So some might not necessarily have demanded that to happen, but through 10,000 already. Wow.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we climb to our cruising altitude, we'd like to extend a special thank you to each of you, and a welcome back to our SkyMile members and Million Milers.
I am keeping an eye on the Streamlabs feed, folks. There you go, Matthew's saying there, engine flames out, engine relights, as Bacon Sarni almost mentioned.
Even if the sign is off, please keep your seatbelt fastened in case we experience any unexpected rough air. We ask that you also please remember to use caution if opening the overhead bins to prevent injury from articles that may have shifted during takeoff. Delta accepts only major credit or debit cards for onboard purchases of beverages.
Right, I think I'm back again. I've just had a weird pop-up from Streamlabs saying that there's something being backed up in the cloud. I've not asked it to back anything up. I don't know what's happening. But I feel like for this second sector we're going to be fighting Streamlabs all the way. It's got 19 processes open for some reason, including Crashpad Handler. I don't actually know what it's doing. It's very weird. Real-time text says, what happens if you don't push the toga button on a plane during takeoff? Will the plane still take off? For this, as we found on departure, no. We didn't get enough power, so we rejected the takeoff. Yeah, Alan, as the other guys have alluded to, if you're flying in an aeroplane like the PMDG 737 with a vast amount of failures built into the product, you might want to have that as a thing. You might want to make sure that you put the ignition on to continuous, because failures are possible, and therefore you need to then handle the aeroplane properly. In this, I don't think there's any failures, so it wouldn't matter either way. Anyway, we're up. The stream is all picky at the moment, but we're working through it. I know what I did do though, I forgot to add the new route plan, fetched from SimBrief. Bit more Unicom for the remainder of today. Back to Syracuse, New York. Matthew saying, with every plane I've flown, pressing the toga, increasing power in the 767, slews the aircraft position to the start of the runway. So for the initial position accuracy, you want to do that. Interesting. So actually for that INS, or that global sort of positioning, that's quite important. Bekansani saying, just to let you know, I'm actually going to be flying the A310 in a couple of days. Going to spend a day learning stuff, then take it over the channel for a short hop. Very nice. I genuinely think you'll really enjoy it, Bekansani. Just make sure you've got that enhancement mod for PC from the MSFS marketplace. Andrew, hello, welcome. Yeah, that was noticed actually towards the end, just as we were discussing the topic. Actually, a couple of minutes later, we'd realised that I'd left the gear lever in the up position, not off. In the A310, it's got an off position like the 737, so you've got to flick it across to basically turn off the system. All good, Andrew. Hopefully you don't flick through the bits where we had no stream feed for a little while. Our Fly Live Studio not working again. Can always rely on that to fail once a stream. It's usually Fly Live that breaks, not actual Streamlabs. But we persevere, as ever. Brian, hello, saying, is this the A310 as launched or is it modded? No, it's just as it is launched. Oh my Jesus. Oh, absolute tosh from Streamlabs today. First sector though, absolutely fine. Makes no sense, does it? First sector, perfectly fine, and then all of a sudden now it doesn't want to do the second sector. But yeah, weird. I mean, beg style, I've restarted it tons of times. I've killed the process, all sorts of stuff. What were we talking about? We were talking about the A310. You've got to make sure you've downloaded that enhanced package, otherwise it won't work properly. For the additional features that you want on Xbox. I need to explore what an alternate streaming program would be for Streamlabs to have as a backup. I think very, very bizarre. Everything else is working fine. It's just Streamlabs that suddenly decided to give up the ghost. So I might look at some other options. But the problem is, you guys know this. I'm rubbish at tech. So I have no idea what to suggest. Maybe I'll look at the actual... Instead of Streamlabs, I'll actually look at OBS perhaps. I'm going to begin to Google it now. OBS project. It's free, isn't it? OBS, Open Broadcaster Software. Looks very similar. Lovely. Right. Mark says check the Streamlabs log files. I wouldn't even know where to find that, to be honest. Birdman, so it's set to not back up during streams. That's the thing. That's what's confusing about it. It's kind of just doing its own thing today. I wouldn't know where to find the Streamlabs logs. I know. There must be a thing inside their settings. Yeah, see, I've got Streamlabs, which is kind of the problem, really. App data, that's a good idea, Mark. Ooh, slobs, yeah, I've got slobs. Slobs client, crash pad. I've got crash memory dump and crash pad. And then reports 22nd of the 8th. It hasn't created any dump files. Makes it even weirder. I've got crash handler log though. Oh my jeez, this is well started. Crash handler. Socket read instance 4 failed with error code 109, it says, is critical, yes. Start monitoring. It doesn't actually tell me what's happened. It could be that there's something that's not quite working inside Streamlabs all of a sudden, post a Windows update that's maybe due or something similar. And again, with all these sort of things, it's always difficult to kind of work out, isn't it? In the meantime, though... Oh. Well, if there was ever the biggest ever clue that Streamlabs stole OBS and repackaged it... Peter, yeah, so my pressure altitude is 30,140 feet, which I think is probably what you're referring to. However, on... Oh my god, I've done it again, haven't I? Uh, 64 gig of RAM. It is at the moment being utilised only... Well, GPU 90%, memory or RAM 25 gig out of 63 gigs, so 39% utilisation at the moment. And CPU 50% utilisation as well. Peter, well spotted. All that carnage with slobs made me forget what I forgot on departure. I vowed not to forget again. Right, this is going to be interesting. Because JHW, we've got no vertical profile for the descent yet. But I'll just let us get back to altitude hold mode. Because maybe that will flick across. So it wants Syracuse at flight level 70. We'll So we're going to overfly the Syracuse VOR. We'll probably fly outbounds. We'll do a right-hand circuit. And then from Syra we want, is it Tilly? No, Tilly Zimba. Tilly Zimby. Okay, so Tilly at 2,100. Zimby 1,600. That's fine. At Tilly will be established anyway. We want 109.9 and a course of 280. Like so. Mark, yeah, hopefully. It's odd though, isn't it? Very strange. We can work around it. Appreciate it's not necessarily the viewing experience that you would have hoped for if the stream drops out constantly for a period of about 20 minutes. For those of you who have stuck with me, I do really appreciate it. I reckon we'll go for 80 miles. We'll do +5 for the wind correction again. And minimums for the ILS, this time 613. Airfield altitude, elevation is 421 feet. .400 is closest. Right, I mean, it might crash again because I'm going to demand it to show Navigraph, but who knows? Let's find out. There's Navigraph. So there's no star, as you can see on the left of the screen, but we've just got approaches. So we're going to fly direct to the Syracuse VOR here. From that, we're going to fly basically east. We'll do 080 degrees maybe, or 090 degrees, descending down to 2,000, what was it? Down to 2,100 feet roughly. Probably about 4,000 feet or 3,000 feet. We want to be near the base leg, 3,000 feet perhaps. We might extend out toward, basically towards the water here. We'll fly base, turn onto final to then establish on the ILS via Tilly at 6 miles, runway 28 to land at Syracuse. And that we've just pre-tuned the ILS frequency there and the course. There's the vertical profile and our minimums of 613 feet. The decision altitude, the height being 200 feet above ground level there. You can see a couple of little steps down, but we're going to effectively bring it in from Tilly, 2,100 feet. We'll extend beyond Tilly, near to where Stoder is, and then work back on ourselves. So I might try and get a fixed ring put in. We'll see how that works. I can't quite remember now. Touching down on 28 though, we've got 2,744 metre long runway. Might use low auto brake again, but full reverse to vacate maybe Zulu. And then we'd taxi Alpha, Echo, and back in to park at... Where did Doc allocate for our parking? Let's find out. He's allocated gate 25. So gate 25 it is. Which is where we left actually. It's the same stand we started the stream at, which is great because we know it works. And we got the GSX profile for this VerticalSim Syracuse. Happy days. This doesn't really help us anymore. Might as well reset that. And we've got that set. Brian says the Sober did a great Faro. Yeah, it's a very nice airport actually, isn't it? We might as well set low auto brake now. Oh, hello, got a flyby. Look at that. That's a Retrojet. Ah, you know what? Wrong side of the aeroplane. No idea where it is. We're flying over through the contrail now. That was UPS 2054 flying from EDDK to KSDF. Wow, that's a heck of a journey. And I've caught them on a screenshot. If you are watching, you'll be uploaded to Valanta. We've got Delta 005 behind as well, apparently. Ryan, yeah, I'm still using FSLTL, primarily using AIG. Yeah, sorry, make sure I get it right. I'm primarily using FSLTL for my model matching, but as a backup, I still have AIG installed as well. So I'm using both still at the same time. So if one can't match, it then relies on the other. Right, so profile mode's not going to work in this instance, therefore we need to try and get this right. Oops. You know what? It's here, isn't it? Can we not do fixes? Oh well. Sure I did it the other day. Might be in silly. Descent forecast. You know what? I've just closed SimBrief, so I shan't worry about that now. No, you know what? Let's put it in. Let me reload SimBrief back up again. It won't take too long. My flight plan. Where's my wind data? Pick a few out of descent. So altitude. Oh no, wrong section. .26848. That's good, so that can be input that way. Let's try a flight level. Actually, it won't be a flight level now because it's going to be below 180, so we'll do 15,000. 266 at 39. And then flight level 100, sorry, not flight level 100, I'm used to flying in Europe. 10,000 feet, 258 at 30. And then the weather in Syracuse. .240 at 12. Ta-da! There we go, that'll do. Mode. Alright, well, 90 miles, I think we can start the descent. We'll just assess. We'll go down, aim for 7. We'll try for 1800 foot per minute. MPS Gaming, have you installed the MSFS beta for the update on the A310? No, sadly not. I don't really like doing it because it requires sim reinstalls at the other side of it, so I tend to really avoid it basically. We've not got a banana yet, have we? Oh, there it is. I can see one now coming in. We'll go for 2,400 foot per minute. We'll go for max 7.5 just to bring that speed down. Auto brake is set low. We're going to use reverse properly today. That's set. 1099.280 is set. 200. Let's do 280 knots in the descent, shall we? We can bring this back to 2,300 foot per minute. It doesn't matter if we're slightly above today because of this last little section of the flight today. It's a little bit hit and miss and unpredictable with going to Syracuse, so it's all a bit bugged up as well. Look, top of climb, top of descent. So if I go direct to Syracuse now, that seems to have kicked it in a little bit more. That speed's just slowly bleeding away, but that's fine. Hey, you know what we've not used for a long time, folks? Sky Dolly. So I'm tempted to fire that up and test this with a replay. What do you reckon? We've not done a replay for touchdown for a long time. Let me see if it needs updating though. Sky Dolly. 4 months ago. I don't think it. I think yeah. I've got the latest version. Alright, well let's fire Sky Dolly up ready as well. We'll see what happens. It'd be nice to do a replay in this, see what happens there with that. We've got another aeroplane flying to the north of us. Canada's alive at the moment. Philadelphia, Buffalo, they've all got traffic as well. Chicago Center's online on VATSIM. Everyone but our little pocket of New York into Syracuse. Yeah, I've actually, so I've got icing visual on, but the aircraft effects off because of, as MPS Gaming is saying there, it's actually pretty naff inside MSFS the way that it works. So I actually have the visual effects on, but the physical effects of icing switched off. .3029. Yeah, Birdman. I'm thinking the same thing there. It'd be interesting to see how the A310 interacts with Sky Dolly for a replay. We'll find out shortly. Automated, probably not. It wouldn't surprise me. There are elements of that that are still buggy as heck, sadly. Okay, so Syracuse is 40 miles over that away. Still can't see it, it's off in the distance somewhere. We'll fly a bit of a self-vectored right-hand circuit, I think. So we're going to head out 080 degrees from Syracuse. MPS Gaming says, I wonder if GSX on Black Friday will be any discount. It's pretty expensive, over 400 Swedish krona, about 40 euros. Wow, so that's quite expensive. It is nice. It does offer a level of additional sort of complexity to the aeroplane and to the flight sim experience as well. I feel like altitude's frozen on Fly Live. Let's refresh that again. That's better. Hello Jovia, welcome, good morning to you over in Las Vegas. Can you spot her yet? Either that's Syracuse. Actually, I think this is Syracuse. Oh no, hold on. That's the lake. Goodness me. Where are we going? We're going that way, aren't we? Yeah, I think this little notch here is Syracuse, which would be now centre of your screens. I think that's the airport. You're using profile on the VNAV, Birdman? No, vertical speed. Just purely vertical speed as well. Syracuse traffic, Delta 5427, Airbus A310, altimeter 3029, 20 track miles to the west of the fields. Inbound the Syracuse VOR. Intentions are to fly north of the field, downwind, onto base, expecting ILS runway 28. We'll report turning base, Syracuse traffic. Actually, realistically, I should be reporting a beam of field, really. I think. But hey ho. think I was right with that theory of this being the airfield. Yeah, certainly looks that way. Right, we'll keep to 800 foot per minute. We'll come in just after Syracuse, I think maybe 7,000. Speed 240. Range change. Minimums are set. Auto brake is set. ILS frequency and course checked and set. Let's arm. Oops, sorry, I've already done that. Let's rearm the spoilers. Must have done that when I did auto brake earlier. That's set. We're going to 7,000. 10 miles to go. Only 2,000 above. That's all good. Lights and signs as required. We'll give a double ding to the crew. Probably about 10 minutes to landing now. Maybe 8. We'll bring speed to 225. And on the charts, where do we want to be? Stowed at 2,700. So that's a nice one. Let's set that. There's the airport. VerticalSim Syracuse. Looks tiny from above here, doesn't it? Wow. Let's pre-arm 080. Actually, what's the... let's see. But actually, we'll do 100 degrees. Syracuse traffic, Delta 5427 is leaving Syracuse VOR, heading 100 degrees, 100 degrees, descending 2,700 feet downwind. Tilly's there in 10. Snowy lands below. That makes me look very close. $15.5, so it's 2.5 on a 30-degree rate of turn. Let's just come here, 095. Oh yeah, this livery is fantastic. The new well, I say the new, it's the current Delta livery, as you're saying there, is pretty naff, isn't it? Okay, so let's arm the ILS now. Deploy a little bit of spoilers to help us, I think. Just manage that energy on the descent. Need it. Speeds increased there as we were enjoying the thing. The external view. There's some wing flex for you guys. And flap 15, slap 15. That didn't work out as intended. At least the overspeed works. 2,700 feet and level now. $180. 200. 250 for 30 degrees. Lots going on. Gonna put flap 20 now. Short final. I think this is going to end up quite quickly. Still below the glide slope. We'll do 240 for now, actually. Put that back on 30. 160 till 4. Nine miles. Gear down, full flap. Heading mode is active, VL's now arms. Just make sure that is armed again. Sky Dolly, Birdman, thank you. Now recording. Syracuse traffic, Delta 5427 is establishing ILS runway 28, 8 miles. Here we go. Tilly 2100. Wrist approach to 3. And where's my approach mode? Final approach. 143. Get down 3 green. Brakes set. Flaps set 40. Continuous relight. Engine anti-icing and off. Lights and signs as required. And our before landing checklist is complete. Very windy, shaking us around loads. So 17 knot crosswind reported now, look. So we will replay this landing. We've got no one else flying behind, so no issue there. That's set, that's set, that's set. 143 is adding the 5. Welcome back. That's annoying. As Brian said, perfect time. That's sod's law. I was trying desperately on the ILS then. As I was hand flying it, I was trying desperately to get it working and get the stream back active again, because Streamlabs once again crashed. No idea why. But then when I got it back, I thought I had the feed working. I was at 100, 200 foot, and then it crashed again instantly as I clicked live. But at that point, there was little I could do, of course. Emerson, welcome to the channel. Where have we vacated? Whiskey. Gate 25, isn't it? Syracuse traffic, Delta 5427 has vacated a Whiskey, taxi to stand 25 Alpha Echo. Right, let's just get towards... We'll get towards Echo, we'll turn on Echo, and then I'll pause. Hopefully that would have been enough time for LRM to have synced the flight. Oh no, you know what? It's had enough time now, so... let's cancel that. Sky Dolly, don't fail us. It was about here, wasn't it? Okay, so all that doesn't work, that doesn't work, that doesn't work. That doesn't work. You know, I wish I was techie enough to just understand how all of that works. But anyway, this is the approach. I'll do it in the cockpit view because you guys, of course, want to see me fight that 17 to 20 knot gusty crosswind. And then we'll watch from outside as well. I did muck up the flare because I had one eye on the screen trying to fix the stream, so I mucked up the flare a little bit and had a bit of a floaty. I've just noticed on the runway though, there is no touchdown aiming zone marker stuff after that touchdown aiming point. There we are. That's the first replay. And then if we zoom... you know what, actually, let's... we pause it there. We'll reset the drone cam. So I don't know, about here. The beauty of replay is you can just pause it when the Streamlabs breaks, but right, anyway. Here we go. External replay. It looks great, doesn't it? The A310 in that Delta Retro livery. And look at the windsock there. Fair bit of fighting to keep that straight. And there's the touchdown. It wasn't too bad a flare, actually. A little floaty, but it wasn't actually that bad. Aye, aye, aye. Lots of technical problems. It's just Streamlabs, that's what's strange about this. Right, anyway, we're back to where we left her. Hopefully you guys saw the 2 replays there, though. At the very least. Skydolly works quite well with the iniBuilds A310, it seems. Might have to restart GSX. Gate 25. I have no idea if this is going to crash again, folks. It probably will, let's face it. That's kind of how today has gone, isn't it? I'll close Navigraph. I'm not sure if there could be other stuff at play here causing the problems. Just need to turn all the lights off again. That's all good. And this is VerticalSim Syracuse. Once again, to those of you who didn't see it, if we wind the time forwards, by the way, so you can see it at night time. Look at that. Oh, hello Microsoft, what are you doing there? That's pretty cool, isn't it? Incredibly bright neon emissive. We'll go back to real time. And I'll try not to crash. Not quite sure where I've ended up here because if this was Echo, where's the yellow line? Oh well, we're doing a road. Might as well. What else could go wrong today? Oh, somebody's on stand 25. Change your stand. What's this one? 10. Or 26. Oh my days, I have no idea what has gotten into Streamlabs OBS today, or Streamlabs. No longer OBS, is it? No longer Streamlabs OBS. As Automator said, when it rains, it pours. I can only apologise, don't really know what to suggest. Thanks for bearing with us though, we're almost here. How many more times will Streamlabs crash before we park and shut down and end the stream? That's the question. No. There we are. Oh my god, I forgot to turn the APU on. After all of that. Oh dear. That sums up today, doesn't it? Wonderfully. Happy days. Right. Let's deboard.
Deboarding requested.
Lovely jubbly. So, VerticalSim Syracuse to a really nice Detroit Metropolitan Wayne County Airport, which is really nice freeware, and then back to here, Syracuse Airport from VerticalSim, the latest product for their Microsoft Flight Simulator line. I hope you guys have enjoyed today's live stream. Thank you very much for bearing with us through those rather wild Streamlabs technical problems. I've got no idea what's triggered it. Can only apologise for that. But all in all, though, quite a nice flight.
A310 will be pushing back
in the iniBuilds A310.
Taxiing to 28 via Mike, Syracuse.
Head over to Discord. We're going to start planning our next live stream. Hopefully by the end of this week, at some point, be able to go live again. Probably with a different streaming software entirely. But there we have it. Welcome to all of our new subscribers, and thank you to all of our channel members as always for being part of the channel and supporting us as we go. Hit like before you head off if you have enjoyed today's live stream, or at least the first sector of 2, and subscribe down below if you haven't yet done so already. In the meantime, as always, thank you very much for watching. I'm off for a gin and tonic, and I'll see you in a few days. Have a great week. Take care.